Are you absolutely sure the liquids in your carry-on will survive airport security in 2026? Are you certain that the shampoo, sunscreen, face serum, or even that protein shake in your bag won't be pulled out, examined, and dropped into a confiscation bin while you stand there watching? Because every single day, travelers walk into airports thinking the rules have changed, thinking scanners are smarter now, thinking the old limits no longer apply, and then they lose their items at the checkpoint. The Transportation Security Administration is strictly enforcing liquid restrictions at security checkpoints across the United States. There are ongoing technology upgrades and discussions about easing rules, but unless you understand exactly how the system works right now, you could be the next traveler repacking your bag under pressure while your boarding time creeps closer. Today, we are breaking down exactly what TSA can confiscate, why it happens, how it happens, common mistakes, alternatives, and how you can protect yourself from losing your items. If staying ahead of travel rules matters to you, tap that like button and subscribe to the channel before your next flight sneaks up on you faster than a gate change announcement. The 311 rule is still enforced. The TSA continues to enforce the long-standing 311 liquids rule for carry-on baggage at most U.S. airports. This rule applies to passengers going through standard TSA security screening for domestic and international departures. The rule requires that liquids, gels, creams, pastes, and aerosols must be in containers that are 3.4 ounces or 100 milliliters or smaller. All of those containers must fit into one clear, quart-sized, resealable plastic bag. Each traveler is limited to one such bag. If you exceed any part of this requirement, the item can be removed and discarded at the checkpoint. The TSA does not consider how much liquid is inside a bottle. They look at the size printed on the container. If the bottle is labeled as 6 ounces, even if it is almost empty, it does not qualify and can be confiscated. This rule remains the national standard at airports that have not officially replaced it with expanded screening policies. Why does this rule exist? The liquid rule was introduced in 2006 after a foiled international plot involving liquid explosives. Since then, the TSA has kept restrictions in place as part of layered aviation security measures. While technology has improved significantly and advanced scanners now provide more detailed imaging of carry-on items, the rule has not been universally lifted. TSA leadership and the Department of Homeland Security have publicly discussed the potential to revise liquid policies in the future, especially as computed tomography scanners become more widespread. However, until a formal nationwide change is announced and implemented consistently, travelers must assume that the 311 rule applies at the vast majority of checkpoints. What counts as a liquid? Many travelers lose items because they misunderstand what TSA considers a liquid. The definition is broader than most people expect. According to TSA screening guidelines, anything that can be poured, spread, pumped, or squeezed is generally treated as a liquid. This includes toothpaste, shampoo, conditioner, sunscreen, body wash, lotion, liquid foundation, mascara, lip gloss, hair gel, shaving cream, and even certain food items. Peanut butter, yogurt, pudding, jam, honey, and creamy dips are often flagged because they fall into the gel or paste category. Even if something looks thick or semi-solid, it can still be treated as a liquid during screening. If it does not hold its shape like a solid bar or powder, assume it falls under liquid restrictions. How does confiscation happen? When your bag goes through the X-ray machine, TSA officers analyze the contents on a monitor. If they see liquid containers that appear too large, or if the liquids bag is missing or overloaded, they may pull the bag aside for secondary inspection. During that inspection, officers physically examine the containers and check their labeled size. If a container exceeds 3.4 ounces and does not qualify for an exemption, you will be given a choice only if time allows. Either place it in checked luggage if you can return to the counter, or surrender it. In most cases, travelers close to departure simply abandon the item. The TSA does not store confiscated liquids for later retrieval. They are discarded. The process is straightforward and consistent. If it does not meet the rule, it does not go through. Advanced scanners are expanding, but not universal. One of the biggest sources of confusion today involves the rollout of advanced CT scanners at the airports. These scanners create a three-dimensional image of carry-on contents, allowing officers to rotate and zoom in on items without opening the bag. In airports where CT scanners are fully deployed and approved for expanded screening protocols, some restrictions may be relaxed in limited circumstances. However, this is not universal across all U.S. airports. Many smaller airports and even some larger terminals still operate traditional X-ray machines, where the 311 rule remains firmly in place. This inconsistency means you cannot assume that because one airport allowed a slightly larger liquid item, another airport will do the same. Unless TSA formally announces a nationwide policy shift, travelers should plan according to standard limits. Exceptions you must declare. There are important exceptions that can prevent unnecessary confiscation if handled properly. Liquid prescription medications are permitted in quantities greater than 3.4 ounces. However, you must declare them to the TSA officer at the checkpoint. They may undergo additional screening, but they are allowed. Over-the-counter medications in liquid form can also qualify if medically necessary. Baby formula, breast milk, toddler drinks, and baby food are exempt from the size limit when traveling with an infant or young child. These items must also be declared. Officers may test them separately, but they are not restricted to the 311 size cap. Duty-free liquids purchased after security screening are allowed on board, if sealed in tamper-evident packaging. If that packaging is opened before a subsequent screening, the item can be confiscated. Knowing these exceptions and proactively declaring them can prevent confusion and delay. Common mistakes people make. The first and most common mistake is bringing containers larger than 3.4 ounces and assuming that partially empty bottles are acceptable. TSA officers do not measure remaining liquid. They check the maximum capacity printed on the container. The second frequent mistake is overloading the quart-sized bag. The rule requires that all liquid containers fit comfortably inside one clear, quart-sized, resealable bag. If the bag cannot close properly, or if you attempt to carry two separate liquid bags, officers can require you to remove items until only one properly sealed bag remains. The third mistake involves forgetting that gels and pastes count as liquids. Travelers routinely lose toothpaste, hairstyling products, cosmetic creams, and even food spreads because they assume thick consistency equals solid status. TSA screening guidelines treat these as liquids. The fourth mistake is failing to declare exceptions. Liquid medications and baby formula are allowed in reasonable quantities beyond the size limit. But if they are not declared before screening, they may trigger delays or confusion. Connecting flights can reset the rules. One of the least understood realities is that different airports operate with different levels of scanning technology. If you depart from an airport equipped with advanced CT scanners that allow slightly modified screening procedures, that does not guarantee the same treatment at your connecting airport. If your journey involves rescreening, especially during international travel or terminal transfers, your liquids may be evaluated under standard 311 enforcement again. This becomes especially relevant for duty-free purchases. Liquids bought after security must remain sealed in tamper-evident packaging. If you open the bag or if the seal is broken before a subsequent screening point, those items may no longer qualify for exemption. Many travelers are unaware that a connecting flight in the United States after an international arrival typically requires rescreening, which can expose duty-free liquids to confiscation if packaging has been compromised. Solid alternatives reduce risk. A growing number of frequent travelers avoid liquid restrictions entirely by switching to solid alternatives. Solid shampoo bars, conditioner bars, bar soap, stick deodorant, solid cologne, and powder cosmetics do not count toward liquid limits. Because they maintain a defined shape and cannot be poured or spread in the same way as gels or creams, they generally fall outside the 311 rule. This approach significantly reduces checkpoint friction and eliminates the need to calculate ounces before packing. While not every product has a solid equivalent, many common toiletries now do. So, how to deal with liquids and the rule? The TSA leadership has indicated that modernization efforts continue, and the expansion of advanced scanners may eventually allow broader changes to carry-on liquid policies. However, aviation security policy shifts move carefully and methodically. Until formal guidance replaces the 311 rule nationwide, enforcement remains active. Travelers who gamble on rumors rather than official policy are the ones most likely to lose their items. Pack smart, measure twice, seal once. Declare what needs declaring, and never assume the scanner will be more forgiving than the rulebook. If this video saved you from sacrificing your favorite lotion at the security checkpoint, hit that like button with confidence. Subscribe so you never get blindsided by airport rule changes again, and stay tuned, because the only thing that should take off on your next flight is your plane, not your toiletries disappearing into a TSA bin.